let's talk about Hitbox and Junkfood Arcades. For those of you that don't know, Junkfood Arcades is a company that made leverless controllers. Hitbox is another company that also makes leverless controllers. And as of 2022, Hitbox formally sent Junkfood Arcades a cease and desist because they, according to Hitbox, they are infringing on the patents that Hitbox owns. And Hitbox owns 3 patents. You can even go to the Hitbox website. They have 3 main patents, and it's all for the Hitbox controller. Other patents are pending. The patent, and if you look up these patents, you can actually just straight up put the patent number on Google, and it'll pull up the information. Now, at Texas Showdown, I had a chance to speak with Donka, former co-host of the show, now turned patent lawyer, right? So I got to pick his brain a little bit about this whole situation. I'm gonna be very basic here because my knowledge of all of this is very basic. I'm not a lawyer. I genuinely have been like looking at all of this stuff for a couple of weeks. It's been hard to wrap my brain around it, but I think I finally have a very rudimentary understanding. Patents are made so that a person who invents something is able to let others build that something that they've built without giving up ownership of the thing that they made. And the way things work is by licensing. So, for example, you can take something like the let's do engines, right? Like game engines. Unreal 5, which is what Tekken 8 is made on. Bandai Namco has to pay a licensing fee to Epic Games, who are the creators of the Unreal Engine, to use the Unreal Engine to make their game. And whatever that licensing agreement is between Bandai Namco and Epic Games. It could be royalties based, where they get a percentage of each sales. It can be just a straight up buyout, where they're like, hey, I want to make something with this. Here is this amount of money for me to use your license. Whatever the agreement is, that's between these two companies. Hitbox has sent Junkfood Arcades a cease and desist because of the controllers they were selling, right? Hitbox is claiming that the controllers Junkfood Arcades has been selling infringes on their patent. Now, patents are fucking weird. Patents are so weird in the US. The way you get a patent is you have to file, which you can see right here. This was filed in Georgia. File for a patent. You say, hey, I created this thing. Here's how you make it. This is mine. And the court takes a look at it and says, okay, this patent is valid. Like nothing like this exists or is documented. You're good. Or what usually happens is a patent can sometimes be too vague, right? Patents have to be very specific. And sometimes patents can be granted and things change to the point where that patent is no longer as specific as it was. And the abstract of the patent is a hand-operated game controller for controlling game console. Multiple push buttons are arranged on the surface of the game controller. So it's talking about the very specific like places where the buttons are, right? Like, and they even have images. The push buttons are placed in an arrangement that approximately matches the natural position of the fingers of the user's hand. As the user presses the buttons, control signals are sent from the buttons to the game console via wiring. A big issue that causes a lot of patent disputes is vagueness. Since this patent is now coming into scrutiny, this legal case is trying to establish one of the following things. One, that the patent is valid, right? So Hitbox sent Junkfood Arcade a cease and desist. Junkfood Arcade is saying this is not a valid patent because it is too general, or whatever the reason is that they stated, right? I'm not sure what the reason is. So that is the battle right now. Is Hitbox or Junkfood is trying to prove that this patent is not a valid patent, and Hitbox is trying to say it is a valid patent, and you are using it without our permission. One of the ways that a patent can be invalidated, and this is information that I got from Donka, is if the product or the thing that the patent is claiming is publicly available a year before the patent is filed. Essentially what that means is if there is anybody that had a controller that had this exact layout a year before 2011, then this patent is not valid. right? Because then they're claiming something that already exists. One of the things admitted into the evidence is a photo from Markman from 2009 showing exactly this layout on an arcade. From my understanding, 2 decisions so far have been made. I could be wrong about this, but from my understanding, 2 decisions have been made. The layout and the inner mechanisms of the Junkfood Arcade's controller is exactly the same as the Hitbox, right? Like, so whatever the patent is that Hitbox is claiming they have is indeed what Junkfood Arcades is using on their controller. For the foregoing, plaintiff counter-defendant Junkfood Custom Arcades LLC's motion for summary judgment of non-infringement is denied. So this is gonna go to trial. And this was on the 21st of March on 2024. Defendant counterclaimant Hitbox's LLC motion for partial summary judgment of infringement of claims 1, 2, and 3 is granted in part and denied in part. It is granted as to the Snackbox Micro XL. This is so weird, like reading legal language and then seeing like Snackbox Micro and Snackbox Micro Lite products. It is denied that the Snackbox V2 Buttons Only Edition and the Snackbox V2 Mini Stickless Edition. While this is partial, right? So Snackbox version 2 and the Snackbox V2 Mini are not infringing on these patents. So now the discussion then becomes, is this patent valid for them to enforce? But that's where we're at. The judge said some of the Junkfood Arcades are infringing on this patent, some are not. As for whether what Hitbox is doing is morally right or not, I have no fucking idea. Because is this a case of Hitbox just trying to squelch Junkfood from selling sticks like theirs? Or do they genuinely think that like Junkfood stole something, right? Like, that's impossible to tell, as far as I understand. To add to this craziness, on top of all of this, so Hitbox announced the licensing program where people can license the patent to use for their stuff. One company that has taken Hitbox up is Paradise Arcade. Paradise Arcade Shop, another company in the FGC, which if you go to offline tournaments, they always have a booth. Same thing with Box, same thing with Hitbox. Or Junkfood, sorry. Junkbox Arcade Shop. So if this patent is proven to be invalid, then this is going to be an issue, right? Because right now, Paradise Arcade Shop is licensing this patent, is paying, I believe they're paying money to be able to sell Leverless arcade sticks. That's it. It's ongoing. We still have to see, like, I think the big thing is going to be whether these patents are valid or not. I think that's genuinely what it's going to come down to. Your YouTube channel inbound? Ugh. Dude, this took me like 2 months to like figure out. And I had to talk to 2 lawyers. Like, kind of very rudimentally, or like very like vaguely wrap my brain around what the fuck is happening.